Welcome to the Dawg and Gus Show, now on Feel It Radio.
Hey, what's up, dog?
Not much, Gus. You?
Oh, not much. Little afternoon session with our guest today.
Afternoon delight.
I knew you were going to do that.
You did not know I was going to do that.
I knew. I fucking knew. Who do we got?
We got Scott.
We do have Scott.
But he's also known as...
Reaching Needles. And I'm in charge of, I bother people until they play Ottawa. And that's under public display of affliction.
There you go.
Well, that's cool. What do you mean? Do you like send them DMs and make sure that you get after them or what?
Yeah, pretty much. I just, I go out of my way. I'm really into experimental music, noise music, and things that aren't really happening so much in the Ottawa area. So I hit people up on Instagram until they tell me to leave them alone or until I get them to town. And so far, everybody's been really cool about it. So
you gotta be pretty relentless, actually. Too.
I gotta be super annoying. Yeah. I brought like some people that I've listened to since I was like a teenager, and it's always like weird approaching your heroes and everything like that. But so far, no one's really screamed at me yet, so I'm not doing something horribly wrong.
That's good. I mean, if you find that if people start yelling back at you, then I don't find that. Do you find that some people are like aggressively telling you that they're not going to come?
It has not happened yet. I've had people just like not want to come down because they think Ottawa's, not great. But slowly I'm chipping away at that. And we're getting more and more interest in Ottawa now because of like what me and a couple other people are putting together. So
it's true. I think that even Dawg and I have talked about this at length, and Ottawa's certainly coming into a very more diverse musical town, art town, and it's kind of cool to see and be a part of, really.
Absolutely. You guys are huge for that too. So thank you very much for what you're doing here. I'm learning about local people in my backyard because of your show. So
you're the man.
You're the man.
You're the man.
Okay, we've had our ego stroked enough. We're good.
All right.
And the show's over.
So the biggest
2 minutes in.
Just to go on that, the biggest ego boost I got was when I was at Shoppers Drug Mart and this guy goes, Gus! And I go, I'm looking around like, who the hell knows me is that? And then, of course, we had a chat, and I got him a T-shirt, and his girlfriend a T-shirt, and had it. And then, of course, now you're here. So
yeah, no, thanks awesome. A lot for that. Yeah, I felt weird. I saw you walking out. I recognized you right away. And then I was like, does he want to be yelled at the parking lot? There's so many things. Well, there's so many things you can get at Shoppers Drug Mart that maybe this isn't necessarily the greatest time to be just bombarding somebody.
Yeah,
so.
Likely if you saw me with some baby formula or something like that, it's not like I'm buying rubbers or anything like that. So you're good.
It's not, medications for things that, are terminal.
Oh, yeah, fair enough. Touche. Nothing terminal on my end, thankfully.
I was getting passport photos, so, I was lively.
Yeah? But. Yeah, you were jacked up. You can't even smile in that photo.
So, out of the two of us, he'd be the one to be more happy to have that happen to him in a Shoppers Drug Mart.
Although it doesn't happen to me as much as it happens to you.
Very true.
Because he's out and about.
I'm out and about.
Yeah, Dawg, where were you this weekend?
I was out in Westmeath, that's out near Pembroke, for the Summer Days Music Festival. It's a 2-day festival put on by a gentleman named Mike, and he's also a member of a band called the Black Water Brigade, and they're awesome. And they played on the Saturday night. And our friends from Beyond Driven and Winter played on the Friday night. So it was a good show.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I saw you posted some photos, obviously. And
I've got to get to that.
Renaissance, too.
That's a good picture.
Yeah, giving the finger.
Yeah.
So what got you into music? What was your go? Why did you start playing an instrument, and why did you want to start a band and go from there?
Yeah, so getting into music, probably 10 is when I started paying attention to what was going on. Even before that, we had like the boy bands and everything going on, and I was buying those cassettes, and then from there, it was like Limp Bizkit. It was the new metal thing that was happening at that time. I'm 34, so I'm showing my age here, exactly what was going on during that time. But
I was into Limp Bizkit, and I was older than you.
Oh, yeah? Well, there you go. Yeah, so, there, and then from there, I was just like, slowly, I was picking up CDs from places that are closed now. CD Exchange, Record Runner on Rideau Street.
Record Runner, yeah.
Record Runner was awesome. I really miss that place. Now it's a condo. Like everything else in the world, it is a condo.
Yep.
But, so, that was big for me. I was getting, like, heavier stuff. Shea 106 was big. Then I heard Black Sabbath. And from Black Sabbath, every band and everything is like a wormhole for, a curious person.
Yeah.
So
Very true.
yeah.
And Spotify helps a lot with that. 'Cause you like Black Sabbath? Well, why don't you listen to these fellows?
Yeah, amazing.
And these fellows. And while you're at it,
Yeah, as a kid, I was buying when I was looking at the Black Sabbath section, I'd go to the dusty areas where you have these unofficial tribute bands, putting together their Black Sabbath tribute albums. And that's on getting more and more into underground music, I suppose, because I'm just buying these things and playing songs that I recognize, and then you're into. It's just it's another stare, it's another it's another shot down the wormhole.
So cool, very cool.
Yeah,
yeah. It's I get introduced to new music all the time, just from doing this podcast and having people tell me who their influences were and where it all comes from. And it's funny that you mentioned Black Sabbath, because I've obviously been a huge Black Sabbath fan for a long time, because I remember getting the Paranoid album, and it was from there I just was all over it.
Yeah, I got the Paranoid cassette at there was an Alta Vista church, and they had a church bazaar, and I got it for 50 cents, and I still have it.
Sick,
how
bro.
bizarre.
Yeah. Come on.
What?
Hey, come on. I liked it.
It was a bazaar. It was
Literally. That was a good reference.
I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Oh, who sang the song?
OMD.
Nice, bro.
Yeah. No, it's
Christian
not.
Removals in the Dark?
No, it's not right. I lied to you.
he answered it. He did answer it quite quickly.
I did.
So I was
And that's part of the charm, man. If I answer quickly enough, people think I'm right.
There you go.
Traditionally, yeah.
It's most of the time.
It's like a trivia night and you're actually wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had that happen.
How bizarre. I remember it was that one band, one song.
But it was an acronym though, wasn't it? It was
How
letters.
bizarre? I think it's
Yeah.
been around for a while.
No, but the name
bizarre
of the
is a
band.
real word.
I know. But not
Not
spelled
just
the same way.
BAZZAAR like
Thank
he's
you.
talking about. But there's also BIZARRE.
I was actually talking about the rapper from D12. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, well,
Nice, D12.
he's just
wow.
correcting my grammar, but
There we go.
I was a play on words, bizarre and bizarre. Right?
Hey, Bizarre had a lot of play on words, okay?
There we go. Yeah.
Purple Pills just got in my head because of D12 right
Huge
there.
album.
Yeah.
You guys go ahead and chat on that then.
All right, that's
yeah.
as far as I could really go with that one.
Oh yeah, fair enough. Yeah, no, I had that. I still have the CD actually.
Oh, do you?
Yeah,
Nice.
Because I liked Eminem, so it was like a kind of an easy purchase for me.
There's actually what I was talking about earlier. That's just another wormhole, right? Here's easily the biggest rapper in the world at that time. Puts out an album with all of these. Oh, he's absolutely massive.
Yeah,
But then, at the height of everything, he put out an album with 9 different people that were doing
all his
their thing
buddies
for- yeah,
from Detroit. Yeah,
it's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to jump in there, I was off by one.
It was 11 because it's D12.
Gotcha.
I was off by one.
sense
I was
to
off
say.
by one letter. It's OMC, not OMD.
Okay.
For how bizarre.
Did you look it up?
I did.
Okay.
Because
Well, it doesn't count.
OMC. It doesn't, I don't know. It just says OMC. So I'm sure I'm sure it means something, but
So it's not orchestral.
so I wasn't. No, it wasn't OMD. No, they were. But anyway, how did you get into the more stuff that you're doing now, the
Yeah.
more experimental stuff that you say there's not a big call for here yet?
Yeah. I mean, the first show I put together was at Avant-Garde Bar last year. And I think, well, actually, we kind of cheated. We made it a live drawing class, too. So we just got, as many people in the door. I got to make sure that the bartenders know who I am and don't immediately associate me with losing money that day. So,
Fair enough.
yeah. So, we started up we did a live drawing, and we had a couple people. There was Griffin from Bomb Squad. It's a local punk band. We had him model, and he did a 30-second pose, a 1-minute pose, a 2-minute pose, and I think he held it for 5. And then we had my wife model as well. So we had people in the door, artists that were there for the live drawing. And then from there, we just kind of turned it into a noise set. And there were some people that trickled out, and that's totally okay because Alex was happy. So
That's all that matters.
It was a busy night, so that's really what matters. But that was a side note. I was definitely getting anything that I was listening to when I was 13 or 14. I found Tool, and then from there, I'm getting further down
Good find.
into it was huge for me at the time. But I realized then I couldn't listen to something that was my favorite songs were the weirdest ones on the album. So I was listening to Slipknot, and I didn't necessarily care for the entire record, but at the beginning there's just a straight noise piece on both the first and second album to start the album, and it's got these tape loops, and it's got these wild synth drones and tones, and like it just like set like such a horrible, awful mood for what was to come afterwards. But it was like my favorite part. So from there, I couldn't get it heavy enough. I couldn't get it hard enough. I was looking for Cannibal Corpse. Got into like music that sounded like it was basically made by monsters to me with no reference point. That's what that was for me. But the huge turning point was a band called Neurosis for me, who actually use a lot of atmospheric electronics and everything. And they would end songs in like these full static bursts and walls of noise and everything. And I was like, that is my favorite part right there.
Interesting.
And then
Music's subjective.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I've done the whole band thing. You know, I've been in hardcore bands. I've been in metal bands and stuff like that. And I realize I really don't have anything to offer that is either pretty, melodic, or even rhythmic in me at all. So,
what does that say about you? Like, is that sort of you getting some emotions out? Is that like you're relaxing by releasing that, or like, you know what I mean? Like sometimes listening to heavy music, I find I listen to heavy music to get myself into a mood, and then whereas I listen to different, like I'll listen to hip hop, to like 90s hip hop, of course, to get myself into a great mood and like liven myself up. But then also I'll listen to some quieter music to just chill myself out. So is it like that for you for music? Do you find you put on that nice Cannibal Corpse and just kind of have a cup of tea and relax, or do you know what I mean? Like, I think it's more, everybody's different. Like, I think I listen to heavy music because I want either maybe I'm angry, or maybe I'm having a tough day, or maybe I'm having an emotional day, and then I'll like rip it up with some heavy stuff, you know, Rammstein or something.
Oh, there you go. For me, heavy music's always just been a place where I could go. That is it's not going to keep me feeling the same way that I am feeling at that moment. So if it brings you into, you know, it's super energetic, it might bring you into like it's great to go outside and run to, whatever you want to do. But on the other end, if you're not feeling 100% amazing, it can drag you down too. And sometimes you need to feel that as well. So, I mean, that's always big for me. What I do now is like I would say pretty far removed from a lot of like the death metal that I grew up with my teens. It's very electronic. It's and there's like no rhythm to it or melody at all. So it's entirely, like, at least what I'm trying to do, it's entirely like enveloping and deeply psychedelic. And I'm using a lot of like synth tones and stuff. So I have like a bass wall of just noise, and then underneath that I put a lot of like intricate electronic work and stuff, things that you can't really hear the first time you listen to, or even the second time you hear. But after that, if you do take the time, if you like deep listen to it, you will hear there's a lot of things going on underneath it. And when I was a kid, I used to love dropping acid and listening to detuned radio static. And that is pretty much exactly what I'm trying to do now with electronics.
Sounds like a casual evening.
Oh yeah, that was my jam.
Nice.
He's trying to do it now without the acid part.
Let's not go that far.
Okay, so not that far. My bad.
No. Me and acid, we got along great. But
Have a good relationship.
Yeah. We can respect each other from a distance now.
Fair enough.
I don't know what to say after that.
Do you want some acid?
No. I'm very good without.
What happened to the podcast? Well, it's 47 hours long.
Yeah. And it was just me going.
Perfect.
And I'm divorced.
And Scott loved the whole thing.
And I'll record the whole thing and I'll put it underneath my next.
It'll be a loop. We'll be on one of his songs.
Absolutely.
Could be interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, no, I'm good. You guys go ahead though.
All right. So, I might just use it and not tell you. And then you'll have to listen to it like the fourth time. And no one's going to do it.
And I'm like, wait a second.
Listen, you can use me as an undertone of any song. However, I'm not doing the acid.
Oh, fair enough. You're drinking the wire though, right?
Oh,
I got bad news.
Ooh.
It was a sneaky. I don't know how he pulled it off.
You'll find out
Was
soon enough.
he here before us?
Yes, he was.
I was.
But he was in the back parking lot, though. He might have gotten to the water in the fridge.
Feeling a little
Great.
woozy.
That's just what we need. Yeah.
Woozy.
Yeah.
Do you have anything?
Now, yeah, I've got lots.
Please.
Except for a question.
Okay. Well,
All right, so it's kicking in.
I'm just, so the acid's already happening because all of a sudden I've forgotten what I want to say. No, I just, like, you talked about boy bands. It's like, it sounds like your musical likings are all over the map, right? So like to get into what you're into now, do you use any of that music in what you're using now, or is it just, hey, that sound would be good in this?
Yeah,
Like, I don't understand how like you would get to that. Like,
yeah. How do I put it? So, in particular, what's happening? Maybe not so much in the '90s, but I am pretty inspired. I mean, you'd never hear it by listening to what I'm doing, but I'm really inspired by like modern pop production, in particular the production of the music. I find it considerably more interesting than what's happening in rock music right now. They really have like a kitchen sink approach to recording. Like there's all sorts of synthesizer work. They're really big in like tones, textures, atmospherics that are happening underneath it, especially in a lot of like modern like trap and rap music that's happening right now.
It's garbage. Sorry.
No. I disagree.
No, here we go.
Fantastic. Yeah, there's a lot of amazing
The hip hop now is not good.
Okay, hey, fair enough. No, I definitely enjoy it. I mean,
Who though? Like, tell me somebody. Like Little Yachty? No.
Danny Brown.
He's all right. You're right.
He's all right. More Mother is incredible.
Okay.
Dialect out of New York. They've been doing it for many years, and they're just getting better and better.
Sorry, I'm just like I find hip hop now like those are, you're right, those are good artists. However, I find a lot of the mainstream hip hop that people are listening to is trash.
Mainstream will never bring you to catharsis. It is a great diving board.
That needs to be on a t-shirt.
It does. You can have it.
Okay. Thank you.
It will never bring you to anything more than a diving board, in my opinion. Hey, there's some amazing stuff that's, chopping the tarts, and it's happened over the years, but there's a lot of years where that wasn't the case. And you can find so much cool stuff by just, even dissecting what's happening in the mainstream, what those people used to do, who those people have played with. Look at old concert posters. Who's this person at the bottom of it? From there, it's like I said beforehand, everything is just a wormhole that will bring you further and further into obscurity. So I can do it with any band.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Foo Fighters.
Okay.
I'm not ragging on the Foo Fighters. They do rock, and that's awesome. There's 3 guitars. I don't necessarily understand why. They're all doing the same thing. It's all good. The Foo Fighters are a very popular rock band. Pat Smear's in the Foo Fighters. Pat Smear was in the Germs in the 80s. Who'd the Germs play with? The Germs played with Flipper in the 80s, the same kind of area. Who'd Flipper open for? Throbbing Gristle. Now you're into like the early experimenters of like industrial music that have like completely changed the game for what's happening today. Like any band, you can go down that wormhole.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
It's a skill, man.
Thank you. Well, I never forget anything I learn about music, no matter how inane.
What do you know about? Okay, so if I was to do a hip hop artist from like a group, would you be able to do it?
Not as strongly. I could try. I could fail. I don't care about failing live.
Tribe Called Quest.
Tribe Called Quest. No, you see, I don't have one. They just fucking rule.
They rule.
Yeah.
now we're back on the same page. Excellent. But no, it's fun to watch that. It's like, and that's interesting too. Is like what Scott's saying about the band and where they come from and where they were before, right? Like we have the Foo Fighters now, but where did they all come from to get to where they are? Like
You got it.
Even their drummer Taylor. Who did he play with?
Alanis.
He played with Alanis. He played with...
they were that prog psychedelic band, too, from the 90s. What were they called? Anyone?
I think Anyone.
Yeah, and Sass Jordan.
Yeah.
Sass Jordan, too?
Yeah.
He started
He played,
with Sass Jordan.
he played with Sass Jordan and Alanis Morissette. And then you get into other things. Like, it's just amazing where, and like you say, and it's just like that wormhole that you go down. And it's like, well, that's cool.
That is cool.
And that's really cool. And then you have to go off and listen to that band. And when you get to that band, there's a guy that's gone off and done this, and he's come back to do this. And it's like, this is like the uber cool.
We didn't even do Nirvana in that first example there.
Yeah.
I mean, like Dave Grohl, Kurt Cobain, obviously. Kurt Cobain, he did vocals on the very first Earth album, which is like pioneers of like ambient metal.
There you go.
I did not know that. And I'm a huge Nirvana fan.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's not credited on the album. You hear it, it's exactly him. Him and Dylan Carlson from Earth were like tight.
Okay.
Dylan lived with him. He might have even lent him a shotgun.
Oh, ouch.
I don't know if you ever got it back.
Dylan, why'd you do it?
No, it ended up at a murder scene.
Yeah. That's not good.
Call it murder because I think it still is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I don't think that he offed himself.
No?
Why would he?
No, I don't believe he did.
Although he was depressed about he was never a limelight guy.
No.
But again.
I'd off myself if I was married to Courtney Love.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you're stupid enough to get married to her then. Yeah.
Well, that's it, yeah.
dark, bro.
Dark. Well, we just went dark for a minute. We're okay. We're okay.
We're back.
We're back. On a lighter note, what do you got, Gus?
If you could have a cup of coffee with anybody in history, who would it be?
I'm going to keep that music related because that's really what I care about most. But
This is true.
Pauline Oliveros.
Wow.
Yeah. I absolutely love her. The minimalist composers and that she came from in the early 60s there at the San Francisco School of Technology. I think that's it. I'm not 100% sure. I'm a huge Pauline Oliveros fan. Like from her very beginnings of like just screwing around with radio test equipment to like just the straight accordion drone and voice that she ended her life with. So ended her life. She died when she was like 90 something. So
Wow.
it was a full life, but she pioneered.
This is a full life.
Oh yeah, for sure. She was a radical feminist at a time when that really didn't. I mean, it existed, I'm sure, but she did it on like in a public way. She is absolutely vital for me, and I show her to anybody that's interested in drum music because it all comes from something, right? And
True.
She's definitely one of the people that I listen to her frequently. She pioneered deep listening. And she set up like deep listening retreats where it was basically like this new age kind of setup where people just like went into the forest and like listened and no psychedelics, no nothing. It was just like it was strict
Nature.
classes, nature, yeah, and music work.
That's cool.
Yeah, super. Wish I could have saw her before.
Pretty
she passed.
innovative.
Oh yeah, she's incredible. Yeah.
So I need that. Like, where did that come from? Like, how did you get to latch on to her? Like, how did that happen?
Through the minimalist Okay, actually, I can tell you exactly what it was. I was talking to a member of this band called Grails who turned me on to Steve Reich. And Steve Reich did an album called Music for 18 Musicians, and I was told to check that out. He was 100% correct. It was like my favorite thing in the world. And then from there, I found like who else was doing like minimalist. I don't want to call it class. It always gets lumped into classical, but it couldn't be. The moment you use like instruments that you associate with classical music, a lot of the times it all just kind of gets lumped together. But he was working with like heavy polyrhythms and like these pieces that are like an hour long with lots of repetition, and from there you learn about the other composers. And yeah, Pauline's definitely one that like really stuck with me.
So because that's always been a curiosity for us, right? Like, where did that come from? How did you learn about that? And and then and then it branches off to there and to here and to there, and it's insane.
Oh yeah. So Grails was a band. Actually, I talked about Neurosis earlier. Neurosis had a record label called Neurot Recordings. They put out the very first and second Grails record. From there, I used to live in Toronto, so I would catch Grails whenever they came through. And those guys are music nerds. And I would hit them up, and I'd buy their albums, and I'd ask them, what you guys were listening to in the van on the way here. And yeah, I bother everybody about what they listen to because I got to figure out what else is out there.
What are you listening to?
What are you listening to?
Right now, I'm listening to Scott.
Yeah.
So to hear that,
Yeah,
you can do better.
I can do better.
Check out Pauline Oliveros.
I'm going to do that now for sure. On the way here, I was just listening to one of my my playlists that I have.
Where are you listening to on the way here?
Aerosmith.
Nice.
Just Sweet Emotion. What we're cruising in. I don't like a lot of Aerosmith, but Sweet Emotion gets me something for sure.
Public Enemy.
Yeah, Public Enemy will do it because they're pretty solid.
Absolutely.
And then before that, I had what was I listening to before that? I was listening to an album, like a recent one. It'll come to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I'm always music first. Like it just sort of gets me in the mood.
Of course, yeah.
I can't get into the. I don't understand people who can drive without music.
Like I like it sometimes quiet, like drive. Yeah, I know you're crazy though. You don't drive as much as I do.
No, that's very true. I don't.
So sometimes
not
it's
right
nice
now,
to
yeah.
just like quiet.
See, it's not really quiet though. You're listening to the ambient sounds of the motor. You're listening to the wind going by. You're basically listening to what I make. Just it's using natural things instead of electronic.
Fair enough. Yeah.
There it is.
Maybe I like the sound of the nature going by.
Everybody
windows down.
Yeah.
I prefer my windows down too. Like when it's obviously when it's that cheaper, but also. I don't know. I just like the sound of the city, and especially when you're downtown or whatever. I like this, like the sounds that you hear. But so what you're doing musically is exactly right up my alley, man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's weird I mean, it's because people don't really think about these sounds that they enjoy daily but they would never like sit down and put on a tape or a CD of those sounds because it feels weird. You might not realize that you appreciate noise and all of its colors and shapes, but like to get over the hump of just like, maybe I'll check out this whole recording of like field recordings. It can feel weird. It can feel a little pretentious at times, but besides that, if you get into it, I mean, the sky's the limit for what you can find.
True that.
Well, it's all about the feel too, right? Like, so, I mean, at some point, like the two of us listen to a lot of different music, and I have to be in a mood. Like, I can't just throw on, I don't know, like Tool and just, or, like anything along that line without a reason. I have to have a reason to put that on.
Yeah.
I don't listen to the radio because I don't like the talking.
No,
Do you find it's how you're feeling emotionally when you put music
Yes,
on?
or it's how I want to feel.
yes.
That's a big component of it, because some days I wake up and I'm just not, me. Like some days I'm just not. Not feeling right.
Not feeling it.
And I'm just like, okay, what do I need?
April wine.
And it's always there.
April wine. It's always April.
It's not always April wine, but that's a big component of my life. Yeah, for sure.
Does it bring you back to when you first heard it?
Oh
and
yeah.
Stuff?
It's some songs will bring me back to freaking school dances, to things like when I used to live out west. That's when I first discovered them, when I was in Alberta, because all the girls I knew loved the Bay City Rollers.
Oh yeah.
Back in the day, right? And of course, you can only take so much of that when you're trying to impress the girls, and then you have to be yourself. And then I kind of found Alice Cooper and April Wine, and
Alice Cooper records.
You know what I mean?
So tough. Yeah.
So that kind of brings me, yeah. So if I want to get I want to go back, and music does that, right?
Did you hear that? Well, can I tell a story about Alice Cooper?
Absolutely.
So recently I was watching something about Alice Cooper, and he lives in Hollywood, obviously, and the sign was being destroyed, like it was deteriorating and all this. So they ended up he talked to Groucho Marx, right? And Groucho was dying, and then when he passed away, Alice Cooper was thinking of something to do for him. So he went to the city and said, "We got to fix the Hollywood sign up." And they said, "How much does each letter cost?" And he's like, $27,000. So he bought the O for Groucho. And then, Hugh Hefner bought the H, and that's how the Hollywood sign
how they saved it,
rejuvenated. And I was like, "This is a really cool story," because imagine only costing $27,000 and you own that letter on the Hollywood sign, And it was like, now it'd be $7 million to do it, but
you can set up a condo on it.
Yeah, you could live behind it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Because when you do that hike, you can see that there's seating area behind it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's really interesting. I did the hike when we were there. It was pretty cool. I was always obsessed with Hollywood, but it was more because I found that interesting, like how the movies were made and all that.
Sure, yeah.
And then music and movies, and then I was all kind of. But anyways, Alice Cooper, random.
Yeah.
So he owns the O.
And
no, he doesn't own the O. He bought the O for Groucho.
for Groucho, but,
Yeah.
but he still owns it because he bought it.
Yeah.
But it's Groucho's.
It's his O.
It's his.
Can you roll it away if you want
Yeah,
to?
and their names, I never noticed it, but the names are on the top because you wouldn't be able to see it because it's so high up. You would never see it.
Didn't that used to be Hollywood Land? I believe that was, it used to be Hollywood Land, and they got, I think there was an earthquake. No, there was an earthquake or something, and it destroyed the fort. It destroyed land, and they left it.
That makes sense.
No, I'm serious.
ironic if it only
I've heard.
destroyed land.
Well, I heard it destroyed some of the letters, and they just got rid of the land part, and it just kept on saying Hollywood.
Interesting. We should we'll do a 20-minute quickie for that.
I think we should,
go up
yeah.
with the Hollywood sign.
There you go.
Yeah, we just did a quickie. Actually, did you listen to it?
Yeah, it was just I did.
Yeah, nice. Thanks. Yeah, we just, random one. We just kind of talked about Ottawa
Just
and
the
what's
Ottawa
going on.
scene that was the last one.
What's coming up and stuff, yeah.
that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
People need to hear that kind of stuff. They don't know what's going on in the city sometimes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and all the great venues we have here, and all the stuff that's going on in them, and the artists that are going to those venues.
Yeah.
This guy.
This guy.
Can't see me,
This
but-
guy goes.
Well, we can see
Well,
it.
some of you can.
Yeah,
That's-
you're right in the
Well,
middle. of that.
you're there, bro.
Okay, hello.
Yeah.
We're not live, but
No.
But it will be on YouTube for everybody to see.
YouTube.
YouTube.
What would you say you're introverted or extroverted?
Introverted for sure. Yeah, you wouldn't think it. I'm doing an
Yeah.
incredible job right now.
Some introverts speak out. Like my sister's an introvert, but she's happy to just do a speech in front of a lot of people. So
I will.
But you get see the difference. The way she explained it is introverts get their energy when they're by themselves, and extroverts get their energy from others.
Yeah, I'm gonna sleep 4
And that's
days
me.
after this.
I'm extroverted, and you guys get introverted.
I went home after that weekend. Just weekend, I slept for 12 hours.
There you go.
Yeah, that would be a dream right now, man.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I shouldn't talk about that stuff.
Sleep.
Getting sleep like that.
Remember that? Remember when you used to put your head on a pillow and not have to wake up every 20 minutes?
I still do, actually.
Oh, yeah?
I still remember it, yes.
Yeah.
I have fun.
Can you relate?
No.
I have very fun
Even though I
memories.
look great, it's
You do look great. You do look great. You wouldn't think that you have 2
I
days
belong-
and you haven't slept, this year.
Yeah, it's coming though. I'm sure it's coming.
You'll sleep.
Yeah. Well, you see, I'm getting my energy though from being with you, and I appreciate that. So yeah, you'd say you're introverted. You kind of enjoy your time alone at home and listening to your music and rejuvenating your battery and stuff.
Yeah, I would say I was like too introverted for a while, actually.
Does your wife help with that? Did she kind
Oh, we're both introverted.
Oh, okay.
We're both introverted. We like our space for sure. Past 2 years of me just like doing what I'm doing now and bringing people to town. This is like the most I've really reached out to other people. I would have never done this 2 years ago. Like, talking to you guys here, this would be the last thing I would have been interested in. So I'm trying to get like halfway out there, because I feel like I lost a lot of years. I was like a heavy drinker. I was like a heavy drug user, and it took me away from the public for a very long time. I didn't really care what was going on in Ottawa. I didn't really care what was going on. Well, I still cared about music, but not to the point where I was like reaching to go out all the time. And but it took me getting clean. That was huge. Getting clean's been super helpful for that. Getting enough time being clean where I'm not worried that I'm going to go out and I might get into trouble that'll last me 3 days and nobody's going to know where I went. But no, I'm good to go now. And yeah, I'm not as antisocial as I thought I was. I'm getting better.
Good for you, man.
I don't want to say like introversion can be cured, because I still don't feel that way. But like I definitely went too long not caring about what I was contributing to society.
I think you can change your perspective anytime.
Oh yeah.
I think it'd be hard for me to become an introvert, but I think I could be a different type of extrovert. And
Totally,
I think
yeah.
you're a different type of introverts.
Yeah.
And that's fine. And did you get help to get sober? The reason is I'm sober.
Yeah, actually, I know that.
Yeah,
that's why I didn't feel too weird about bringing it up here.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I was struggling with drug use since I was an early teen.
Doing acid.
Oh, there's a lot of that. But there was harder things than that. Some of them were different.
Yeah.
I did 7 days of detox when I was 17. Got into like crack and heroin, and I did 90 days at Serenity House in Ottawa when I was 19, and that one didn't click either. Then I did 120 days when I was 20, and that's when like I had overdosed. Things were not going well at all. Then I moved into like a group home situation, and I moved over to Toronto because the geographical cure, it never works. It follows you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I was like, okay, so drugs, not for me, but I could totally just casually drink. So then I was just a red-faced alcoholic for a super long time. And then, finally, like, gave myself a shake and completely, like, withdrew for a very long time to, slowly sprinkle myself at the occasional show here and there. But now I'm good. I'm not scared of nothing.
Good for you, man.
Yeah.
We're glad you're here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. That's why it threw me off when you said you were an extrovert or an introvert, because I don't normally, when we talk to people, I don't cold call anybody. Gus does.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We go to an event and I'll stand beside him, but I won't start the conversation.
Gotcha.
He will.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's why this weekend I hung out with people I knew, but I didn't really chat with people I didn't.
Yeah.
Unless I was with, like, say, Renaissance, who's very outgoing, like James. Mm-hmm. So, like, that's the way I go about things, right? And then after this weekend, I was just like, I got home and I was like, I've had enough.
Well, you had to get your battery charged.
Yeah. And the drive home was just the music was up and that was it. It was just me and the music. And
Coming back in the city after this will be good for me.
Yeah.
Where I work, I'm very alone. I can just listen to music all day. As long as I'm doing my job, nobody gives me a hard time. So I can actually like recharge at work. So yeah, it makes me able to go out afterwards, and I don't feel like I've been up for 3 days or whatever.
Or not sleeping.
Yeah, or not sleeping.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter to me. Sleep's overrated.
It's all overrated.
I'm glad we're rejuvenating you right now.
Yeah, and then I'll just fall asleep on the desk. I think it's important to be different. I mean, you are who you are, but you can change things. Like, and I think you finding sobriety shows you that, right? Like that's the thing with recovery. I don't know if you guys knew this, but I did an interview with our friend of the show is Jenny, and when it came out, it actually came out today. No, I'll send it to you.
Cool.
But yeah, no, it's just me talking about my journey.
Oh,
and,
nice. Okay.
it was good. It reminds me of where I was and where I am now.
And where you want to be.
I'm not there yet.
No, but where you want to be is that you've got it.
Right.
It's in your sights, right?
Yeah, of course.
You have ideas of where you want to go.
I'm chasing myself 10 years from now.
There you go.
Matthew McConaughey's speech when he won the Oscar was amazing because he was like, when he was 10 years ago, I was chasing the person I am 10 years from now, and now I'm chasing that person that's 10 years ahead of me.
Nice.
And it was very cool the way he said it. I mean, that was sort of a layman's terms, but you can watch how he speaks. He's very very invested in what he's saying. And then he will all right. That's who I was thinking about when I was listening to Sweet Emotion, because Dazed and Confused was one of my favorite movies back in the day when I was that age, and I was like, shit, and he was like, that's what I like. I can't do that line on here anyway.
That's what I like.
So let's lighten it up a bit. What's if there was a meal you could eat every single day, what would it be?
Ooh, something I didn't have to cook. Okay, let me think. I mean, if it really didn't matter, give me like a good smoked mac and cheese with like pulled pork.
Shit, that's a great answer.
I mean, I'm not going to live for longer than 2.5 days doing it, but if there was like, some world in which this could exist this way, and I could still go outside and run and play.
You can say, and it's going to live forever, man.
Perfect. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. As long as it gives you nourishment and doesn't make you want to go into a coma afterwards. Then...
Although you do feel like shit after you eat it, but it's still yummy while you're eating it.
Well, that's it. Yeah. So like if we can just cut out the feeling like shit part, sign me up. That's probably what I'm going for.
Fair enough.
That's why I have a smoker.
I have a smoker too.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm all about like pork shoulder on the.
Hell yeah. There you go.
I'm all about eating.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like eating.
I'm a big eating fan.
I'm a big fan of it.
Yeah. What do you think of liquids?
Liquids. I can drink liquids too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Liquids are good.
Yeah. What are those like in between ones, like gelatins?
No, not so big fan of gelatins. Not so much.
Fair enough.
I feel like this interview's gone the other way.
Yeah, and I'm the tired one. Dog, come on, man. Yes.
What do you mean, come on, man? I just had a conversation with Scott.
About liquids?
And gelatin. And
what gelatin would you prefer?
Jello.
Oh, that's a good one.
Jello.
We're like a nice bone collagen.
I like bone broth.
Oh, yeah, I love
There we go.
Broth.
See? There we go. We're talking.
Healthy stuff, man. You should be drinking that, actually.
Yeah.
It's really good for you.
Yeah, really good. What
chili
about
flakes in there? Have a spicy,
Yeah, you can add things to it. Pepper.
Oh, yeah. Get yourself a house broth.
Cayenne.
Just have that thing constantly going through all the bones that you do with any porks, any beefs at the end of it.
So good for you.
Oh, yeah. It's amazing.
Thanks, Chef Ramsay. I appreciate it.
It's not a chef thing.
Okay.
It's a health thing.
Okay.
Have it warm. It's disgusting cold.
Yeah, cold.
Yeah, it's probably like a gelatin.
Yeah, it's
Literally
like congealed on you.
Yeah.
That's a Jello that you don't want.
Yeah. I mean, I'll settle, but
Yeah.
Is there like a productivity hack that you've found in the last couple of years that really helped with your music or helped with life itself?
not really. I'm pretty good at putting things off.
Yeah.
Not really. I set the bar for the shows that I put on in Ottawa. I try to do them like once every 3 or 4 months. And first things, I don't want to oversaturate because it is a pretty niche thing. So I'm relying on, maybe like 20 or 30 people to have enough interest to come on out. So just keeping it a bit, like I don't think I'll ever turn into a promoter that's like, okay, and next weekend we got this going on. It's like, first off, I work weekends. So it's a pain in the ass for me to do this at all. And then I got to find a place that wants me to be there on weekends because, we're not exactly, we can scare off some venues sometimes depending on what's going on. I did a show for this guy called Neural, and he's like a harsh noise, like legend, like world over. His music is known, and he lives just slightly outside the city from here. So I hit him up, and he came in with like this homemade. He's a welder, and he came in with this homemade saw blade instrument that he played with metal pieces and everything. But like, we're loading into Live on Elgin with things that just are weapons, and I'm just. And this is like the first time I've booked at Live in Elgin, so I'm just like, please don't shut us down.
People
Please don't shut us
driving
down.
by
Please.
like, what the fuck?
Exactly.
Is going
Like
on
we're just bringing in shrapnel and saw blades and everything, and I'm just thinking like, please just don't shut us down.
Yeah.
That's all I care about.
You should come clean out my garage. You'd have a whole bunch of good stuff.
Hey, I'm always looking for junk metal. Anybody out there, if you want to give me long pieces of aluminum, if you want to give me long pieces of metal, I'll take it. If it's rusty, awesome.
Aluminium. It's preferred rusty.
Yes, it is. You get more texture.
Speaking of a great Canadian band, Rusty.
Never heard of Rusty.
Oh, bro.
Yeah.
90s Canadian grunge band, kind of like rock band. Use different sounds.
Oh, okay. Are you familiar with Shotmaker?
No.
Shotmaker are like a grunge / like noise rock band from the Ottawa area that I think is actually. I'm seeing posts about it. I don't know if it's just a reissue, but if these guys get back together, it's gonna be like I'm gonna just piss myself with happiness.
That's
I
fantastic.
can't wait.
I mean, it's an interesting way to show happiness, but I like it.
Like a chuckle or a
do you
smile
do
would be good enough,
Happiness?
I think.
How do I pee
Happiness.
my pants, or how do I show happiness?
Well, I mean, I have an idea as to how you pee your pants, but like, how do you
you
not pee
don't.
your pants when you're happy? Oh, you got a trick.
Yeah, I can't tell you though.
Off air.
He just wears black all the time, so nobody ever notices he pees
That's
his
smart.
pants. Yeah.
Yeah, I clean up enough pee already, but
Yeah. Some of it's his.
That's why you don't clean this part up.
no, I just wear the same pants all the time.
That's what you
And-
should.
Always looks really interesting. This is really weird. But
Well, you know.
I love it.
But we love it.
What is your favorite color, and what does that tell you about yourself?
Green. I like dark greens. I like being outside. I imagine it's probably as simple as that.
Well done.
You?
There.
Purple.
Purple. Beautiful. You know what's the hardest color to make in the old days?
Purple.
Purple. Yeah, purple dye. That's why it's considered royalty. They had to like crush up a bunch of shells to
That's
get it
why
made.
I like it.
There you go. Royal purple. They had to,
I consider myself royalty.
Well, there you go.
King James, bro.
Just keep that purple shit going.
I do like. Well, I like Prince too. So like
Love
that was
Prince.
that was kind of a thing too. I like many colors. I'm a big fan.
Dolly Parton.
Big fan of colors. Coat of many colors.
There you go. See, look at you got the reference. Good for you. Oh, yeah. Look at that. I color me impressed.
Hey, there we go.
Yeah.
I'd be impressed if you asked a question.
Shut up. How you doing,
Speaking of
Gus?
country, you guys kind of turned me on to Sturgill Simpson. Is that how you say it?
Sturgill.
Sturgill. Yeah, I did not know somebody was out there doing like Strawberry Fields Forever style, like psychedelia over top of like outlaw country. I listened to your show and it's so fucking good.
Sturgill's sick.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's awesome. Yeah.
There's a bunch. There's a whole stream of those guys that are coming out now, coming out of the woodwork, and it's amazing.
Yeah, I gotta check more of that out.
Yeah, because Sturgill's the man, but there's a couple other guys that are just like, even from, we talked about it before the show started, the show we were talking about there, the one with I can't remember the name of it, Yellowstone.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Just the soundtrack for that is incredible.
Yeah.
Like
That's-
just I have it
who
downloaded.
did
It's
I-
amazing. Like just the artists that have been on that, and a couple of them actually are on the show.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
one of the guys who acts on the show is also sings on it. So
Yeah, Coulter Wall was the
Coulter
guy
Wall,
the guy that I got from Yellowstone. He's actually from like Calgary.
Oh, nice. Okay.
yeah,
And you think you listen to his voice, and you think he's 80 years old.
yeah.
Nice.
But he's 23.
There we go.
And he's like, dude, you got to listen to him.
Yeah, I gotta check that out.
And he basically, I mean, he's true country, like outlaw country almost.
Yeah,
you know. But sing song about women and like sing song about ranching and actually being part of being a cowboy too. Because he apparently he can't get a hold of the guy in the summer because he is literally ranching.
He's
right now.
actually doing
Yeah,
what
like
he's
he's
talking about.
not like playing music. He probably is, but not like at venues. But he's blown up. People know who he is now.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
For sure.
I've heard the name for sure, but never.
Yeah, he's great as well. Yeah, for sure. And that hasn't hurt, being on Yellowstone.
Well, that helps. That helps.
Sure
I
helps a
mean,
lot.
Yellowstone's such a cool show because I love when they incorporate music to a TV show or like having that background of Montana as well, which is such a beautiful background. Like, I mean,
Yeah,
the
I'd
place
love
is-
to get down there at some point.
Yeah, like it's. I find that when they put it all together nicely. I find Kevin Costner does that really well.
Nice.
He, like,
Most of his movies.
Yeah, like, and he brings music in, and
he also plays in a band himself, right?
Yeah.
So he's a singer. He's a singer as well. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Kevin Costner.
Yeah, he played Blues Fest a couple of years ago.
No way.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's been.
So
known
did
to do
Kevin
that.
Bacon, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Now we just got to wait for Keanu to come with Dog Star, and we're good.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking right. I want a Dog Star T-shirt.
There you go. Keanu, hook us up.
Yeah,
Sounds like you gotta make that, but just spell it your way.
Yeah. DAWG
Bro,
Star.
we're getting T-shirt ideas here.
Well, we got a couple. The other one I don't remember, but we're good. It's all written. It's all on the video.
It was excellent. It was mainstream will never bring you to catharsis.
Catharticism. Is that like
I'm just going to
Catholicism?
spell it incorrectly.
No, we're not getting there. We're not going into that.
Catholicism.
Yeah.
It has
Wow, nice
nothing
word,
to-
right?
Yeah,
It is
but it
a
has
nice word.
nothing to do with
I know.
catharsis.
Thank you.
Unless the Lord tells you to. All right, listen, Dog. Can you ask a question, or are you just going to kind of loaf around?
I'm going to loaf around and let you do all the work today. Heavy lifting is being done by Gus.
Heavy loafing?
I'm doing the heavy lifting, apparently.
Can I do that too?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, I'm
Yeah,
gonna
just
use my
kick back, relax, and we'll answer the questions for you.
What occupation, other than the one you're doing right now in music, we'll say, would you like to try?
Ooh. For work.
Well, even just for music, like in your musical career.
Oh, okay. Nothing that I can. I'm not 100% on that. I would love to. I mean, I'd like to get more. I'd like to get better at production. I'd like to learn more about home production. This is all like brand new to me. I've been making noise and everything by myself for years, but like only in the past like 2 or 3 years have I ever actually even considered like sharing it with anybody. And a lot of that is because I am a caveman with computers. So, and I'm strangely getting into these like really complex synthesizers and stuff that I've always wanted to get into, but like things that I just kind of poke at until it makes a sound that I like, and then I get scared of it and I leave. And so like getting better. Yeah, I guess a synthesist. I'd love to be a better synthesist and a better
Synthesizer.
yeah.
Well, that too, and just learning how to do everything, like the recording process, like
Yeah,
getting
I
it
don't
to the
wanna
what you.
rely on anybody.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
Yeah.
because you wanted to get it to what you want, and to
Yeah.
find somebody with the same kind of vision and interest, because you say
Yeah.
this is a very like this
It's
is a very
niche.
it's a niche thing, and you know to get somebody to be that interested to help you out and to be that invested.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you have to kind of do it all yourself. So you have to learn this, and you got to learn how to mix and how to do
yeah.
this and produce it, and then to get it out there to somebody who wants it, right?
Yeah, that's it. So, yeah, my last tape came out on a Canadian label out of Stratford called We Here and Now Records, or Recordings. Sorry about that. Yeah, and we had that mastered by somebody called Grant Richardson, and that was in the States. And he's in a project called Nod that I've been a huge fan of. So it's pretty cool. Like, kind of get like if you're getting somebody else to master your stuff in this, they're involved in that kind of music as well.
Yes, they would have to be. I
They'd
think.
have to be, you know. You can't send this to somebody and go like, this is all just floor noise. What the hell am I going to do with this thing? So like a traditional recording engineer would have a hard time, wouldn't even know where to start with this kind of thing. So, yeah, knowing people, that's been a big help for that. Yeah, Hex Audio Labs did an amazing job on my last tape. And now I understand why people get this stuff mastered. So I'll make sure to go out of my way and have it done properly.
So now you're talking like that. Are you going to do? You looking? You say tapes? Are you talking cassette tapes?
Oh yeah, I'm talking cassette tapes. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love cassette tapes.
Yeah, because we're always about the physical copies. Like, and we do understand that artists, you know, they're basically doing everything themselves.
You got it.
So the money is always
Oh my God, it's
at the
money.
forefront, right?
Yeah, and especially, I mean, I'd love to have a piece of vinyl made, but just the cost is so prohibitive. Especially, it's not like I'm sharing this with 5 other dudes or whatever. And everybody pitches in a little bit harder at work, and we all put our money together and get this thing made. I'm doing it all I'm doing it all myself.
Yeah.
So
Is cassette better cost wise?
incredibly.
Yeah.
Yeah, cassette and CD. If you want to stay on top of what's going on in music right now, these are the cheapest formats that exist that you can make physical copies of. So for me, I mean, it's just a form of currency in my scene.
Yeah.
I mean, if I get 50 tapes made, I have 50 things to swap with artists that I like, and we trade tapes back and forth. And now my collection's absolutely booming. And all it took was, me putting in, a couple $100 to get some tapes made.
Well, and it's also kind of speaks to like the underground retro part, right? Because
Yeah.
that was always a thing, like the the underground basement tapes.
That's it,
It
yeah.
wasn't the underground basement CD. It was always tape, right?
Yeah, tapes.
So it's
tape's
always
huge.
up here, and it's like I still own a tape player. Like I could
Keep it.
I wash. It's not going anywhere.
Good.
We know you own one of those. I mean, you got everything in there.
Yeah, but a lot of people don't, right? Even CD players now, it's tough.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, I couldn't suggest that more to people that are interested in physical media right now. If you really want to support bands, I mean, buying the record, absolutely, but they make more money on their CDs because they're so much cheaper to make that they can charge it at $10 when it's like $3 a unit. They're getting $7 when a lot of people are losing money on vinyl because they really wanted just to have a vinyl format made, but it costs them thousands and thousands of dollars to have that done.
Yeah.
So unless you're like putting out like, you know, T-Swift level of vinyl, like if you're doing like a simple 500 run or whatever, you're probably pricing that down because of how much cost it was per unit to begin with.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I love vinyl, and if it was easier, I'd get it done. And if the turnaround wasn't like 13 months or whatever,
Again, that's another problem, right?
it's wild. Yeah. So you have like now you have like this whole culture of like, okay, the album's out on streaming, you know, please buy a vinyl from us when we tour next year because we don't even have it yet, and they keep pushing it back. And then like Record Store Day will come in, and they'll make it even worse because like, oh, there's the upteenth version of the Beatles, you know,
Yeah.
having like some special single, and this is a picture of John Lennon beating Yoko Ono, and it has like "Give Peace a Chance" on it, and yeah, and then
He's beating her to give peace a chance. What?
exactly in his heated fur coat room, of course. Yeah,
It's the same thing with Jimmy. Like not to knock, not to
that's
knock.
real.
Yeah,
he
that-
absolutely had that.
Yeah, not to knock Led Zeppelin at all, but Page does that a lot, right?
yeah.
Where he reissues and redoes it, and it's like remastered and reissue. It's like
yeah.
who cares?
Yeah, every 4 years
People buy it.
people-
I know, but then that's the thing, and
it's for
Jimmy
the-
Page knows that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Of course he does, but he hasn't made an album in 30 years.
I know, and Robert Plant has.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't necessarily think that those guys need, you know, my advertisement, but gotta hand it to Metallica because they actually put down the money to make their own pressing plant. So now they're not clogging up the system like so many of these huge artists are. Because if Taylor Swift needs an album done, Taylor Swift gets it done. Universal, and I don't know if it's Universal that puts her out, but it's one of those. They say, okay, this is going to be at the front of your pile, or else we're pulling our business. And then, you know, the 4 vinyl pressing plants that exist in the world are like, oh shit, we don't want to lose that. So boom, never mind your shitty band. Let's do T-Swift for 8 months on old machinery that nobody has ever made new versions of.
Crazy.
It's all the same stuff. All the same stuff from the 70s.
I didn't know that it was only 4 plants, like basically, or
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
And
it.
it's still like the 70s like technology
You
and
got
everything.
it. Yeah, it's never been cost effective enough for people to remake these machines, so they're just repairing the old ones.
We need to open our own recording.
please do.
Record stamping
Please.
place.
Put that on your list.
Yeah.
So I dream big, man.
I know, that's why it's probably at the top of your list.
You guys ever hear about
My
the
top
local...
of my list is our website, but then
There you go.
yeah, that's coming. Once we get Laura's amazing photos of us.
She's a busy lady, man.
Yeah, she is, but that's okay.
No, it's all good.
We're on our list.
Yep.
She didn't put us behind Taylor Swift.
Well, if Taylor asked,
So I was reading the other day about Taylor Swift, who was coming to Toronto after people canvassing, including RPM doing his job so well.
Right.
The thing about her is she gets 70% of the everything they sell, like all the shirts and
Wow.
yeah. So
70% goes to her?
yeah,
That's crazy.
and they do $2 million a show. She's making 1.4 mil every show simply on her merch.
yeah, and she's like what? She's 5 nights at the Rogers Stadium
6.
or whatever?
It's gonna be 6 in Toronto.
She's selling out massive stadiums. Like she's probably making, I'd say, 10 million a show. I would
That's
think.
fucking wild to me.
She's going to be into the billions by the time the tour's over.
Of course, yeah.
Well, they're probably generating that kind of revenue, whether after they pay everybody or whatever, and then she gets her piece. But like, it's pretty wild, man. She's making good money. I mean, you might as well ride it out if you're going to sell out 5 shows in Toronto.
Yeah.
Well, just for your freedom. Like eventually,
yeah.
I mean, she doesn't have any because she's Taylor Swift, but
Yeah.
eventually she could just have that behind her and then go wherever she wants to go and shut it down.
Tired at 30, whatever she is now.
She just won't. She'll make the music she wants to make, right? I think
There you
she's
go.
still making like kind of that music that
She's doing that already.
Yeah,
Because
she's
she went
there
from
now.
She went from country
She
to,
was
to
a country
pop.
player.
And
Like a
she
country
started in
artist.
country. Yeah, she started in country and then she moved over to the pop genre, and which a lot of country artists have happened to do, and she's just made it huge. Like she's
fairly huge,
the hugest music act on the planet right now.
She's the biggest. She's the biggest.
Miley
by
did the
far.
same thing, right? Like,
For a little bit, yeah. She was big for her moments, and
Miley's pretty big.
yeah, and she's extremely talented as well, right? So we got lots.
So do I. I just like that she's herself, and that's who she is. You know,
She's unique.
I don't want anybody that's fake.
Or like we talked about this before, like it's like the PR guys at the radio, or sorry, not the radio, but the whoever sets their tone. It's like, no, this is who you're going to be. No, I'm going to be me, and it takes a lot of balls, men or women, to say, no, I'm just going to do this my way.
Well, there's so many. Have you watched the show The Idol? Have you seen that show?
No.
I watched it with Megan. I wouldn't have turned it on myself, but it does show the backside of everybody that's behind the scenes. That is like the record label, and then there's the manager, and you can't do that, you can't do this, and we got to do this, and that's the way it is, and everything is cookie cutter, and this is how you become a star, and you got to change your way you look, and you got to do this, and it's like, I just want to make music, man. Like I remember, and like that's the thing that people forget, is they're musicians and they love what they're doing. So why are you taking away what they enjoy creating? I just never got it, but I guess they have to sell records. They want to make money off people. They're a product, right? They become a product.
They are a product.
Yeah, and I mean, they sell like iron tight contracts at a very tender age.
Yeah.
When,
Well,
they
it's
don't
like,
have a whole lot, and they're really hungry. And
Prince is going to be releasing an album that was in the vault that he's had, and because he was the one that sort of said, fuck you, I'm making my own way, and then I'll pay you out now. What do you want now? And I'm out of this thing, because they unfortunately have to sign these 6 album. Where he's putting out Purple Rain and like these massive.
But the problem with that too is like putting out crap, because you've got to put out 6 albums. So I put out a really great one and then 5 really shitty
he did
ones.
that on purpose,
No, but
him,
he changed his name to a symbol to get out of a contract.
yes,
right.
he did.
So I mean, so he's a very smart man, and you can watch the interviews about like him talking about the industry and stuff. He hated it. He hated the way it was set up. He didn't believe in the way it was set up, so he did his own thing. And now there's a lot of other artists that are following suit, and as well they should.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, we got to ask the question, bro. So is it 80s or 90s for you?
Kind of going off of what we were talking about there. I think that there's no such thing as a decade with bad music. But I do blame the major labels of the 80s for the absolute shit that was happening during that time.
Can you just get that knife out? Just take it out of my back.
No, leave it in. You'll go around it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
No, straight up. I mean, like, some of the greatest music ever made came out from that period, in my opinion. I mean, Einstürzen, Neubauten, Swans, Rudimentary Peni, Anti-Cimex, Black Flag. Like I can think of so many bands that I loved from that period, but the majors were so tangled up in these contracts from things that made them a lot of money in the 70s. So, I mean, you had like Fleetwood Mac putting out like Tango in the Night. When you could be listening to self-titled Fleetwood Mac, you could be listening to Rumors, you could be listening to Tusk. That shit rules. You're gonna really put on Tango in the Night by Fleetwood Mac?
Nope.
That is a fucking garbage record, and they were so tied up with that kind of shit during that time. And I'm not shitting on disco. I liked a lot of that aspect of it. The new wave thing, I think Devo did it better, and they definitely started in the 70s, but they found their niche in the 80s. Amazing music came out of the 80s. The Melvins, one of my favorite bands ever.
Melvins, yeah. What about Art of Noise?
Art of Noise? Okay, I've heard of Art of Noise, but never actually.
I think you should listen to them.
So what are you
bit.
saying? Are you saying 90s or 80s?
I just danced around a lot, didn't I?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, 90s.
Ooh.
90s. Straight up.
Do you like hip hop? Are you a hip hop guy?
I like some hip hop. I need to explore more.
Okay.
Yeah.
But so 90s hip hop is like the greatest period for hip hop for sure.
Yeah, I hear I'm not actually able to converse that with you though, right? Because you hate so much of what's going on right now.
I don't listen, I think that the number one song is the guy just says the same shit over and 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 over
Number
again.
one will never be anywhere close to what's happening in music.
No, I agree. I find that, but number one, but then you have like in the 90s when Tupac released Dear Mama, like that was number one. It was a great song. Yeah. It wasn't his best song, but he was a poet. And these guys now, they just sort of say what like some stupid fucking thing that's on there.
Yeah.
But you're right. There is more in-depth thing. J. Cole comes to mind.
J. Cole's amazing.
Kendrick.
Absolutely.
They're
Kendrick's
all
fucking amazing.
They're both excellent.
Yeah.
Just to me, it was just always 90s, man.
Yeah. So yeah, that's it for 90s. I mean, the major labels, I really feel like the early 90s eventually just looked around and said, well, guys, we don't fucking know what makes money anymore. So let's not worry about physical graffiti by Led Zeppelin or whatever, and let's just go to like these small clubs and try to sign whoever seems like, you know, is doing interesting stuff right now that other people tell.
Well, the other thing too about the 90s was Dre came out, right? And
Oh, yeah.
like obviously he was always with NWA, but then when he went on his own and Death Row Records started,
Of course.
as tumultuous as that was,
Yeah.
they allowed Dre to just say, sign who you want,
That's it.
do what you want.
Because they knew.
And then he went out and just happened to sign a guy named Snoop Dogg. And then
Exactly.
just went out and got, you know, all the Dog Pound.
Yeah.
And then Nate Dogg showed up. And then Warren G. And then Tupac comes into the picture.
Absolutely.
And then you're like, okay, what the hell's going on? And then Biggie's on the East Coast.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got Nas. And you got Tribe Called Quest in the mix.
Amazing.
Beastie Boys.
Yeah.
Like, it just was the time where, like, Beastie Boys obviously are always going to be correlated with the 80s as well.
Mm-hmm.
But the 90s album, like Sabotage, was
huge.
like unbelievable.
That
you know?
was my introduction.
So they
for
just
sure.
what they did that was different in the 90s than it was in the 80s was they started to give the artist the here's carte blanche, go
Yeah.
do what you got to do and sign who you want.
Yeah, because the numbers didn't lie. They were looking at it like nobody likes what we're doing anymore, and there's so much money being made outside of us. So we give up.
Yeah.
Let's give it to like
Well,
people that might
they're-
have a better idea.
They're
than
smart.
us.
They're
Oh, yeah.
smart. They're gonna make money no matter what. And this is
Well,
how
now they're kind of done.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's why they have to do the upteenth release of the Beatles, you know, singles, yeah, whatever. Like this
Yeah.
is, they're out of ideas. All they have is a golden backlog. So they're gonna make it harder for independent musicians to put their albums out because they need to make, you know, the 20,000th version of something that already exists.
Which sucks, but
Oh, yeah.
it's because it is what it is.
Yeah, buy CDs. Get a CD player. You can get them at Valley Village right now, like $10. If they're not,
I need a cassette player. I'm
get
gonna
a
go
cassette player.
They have a Valley Village there too.
Yeah, they do. People are starting like because they're kind of
I want
considered like
I want a
cute.
boombox though.
Get it.
I need
Absolutely.
to find one.
Yeah,
Like remember those 80s
Yes.
boomboxes?
Oh, yeah.
those are cool as hell.
Yeah, I want one.
Maybe talk to Jason.
Yeah, maybe. Jay, my vinyl addiction.
Yes, sir.
At my vinyl, check him out.
Okay, we'll do.
Thanks for coming, man.
Hey, thank you.
It was great. It was really
Appreciate
nice to have you on and nice to see you again.
Yeah.
Yep.
This was awesome.
After your chance meeting at Shoppers Drug Mart.
Yeah, when I was getting my medication.
Yeah.
For my, I'm not on any meds, guys. Just like
Your terminal illness.
Erectile-
Interrupted his
I'm
family
fit as a
grieving.
fiddle, baby.
Erectile dysfunction.
Yeah, ED meds. They got my Viagra.
You just need
Yeah.
sleep.
Yeah,
That's it.
That's it, right?
Yeah, you'll be straight and strong again soon.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, fuck.
Later. Okay,
All right.
Until next time.
Thanks, everybody.
That wasn't really fun at all. I'll have to do that again.
Definitely not. Yeah, that was awesome. Thank